What's up, everyone? Welcome to Everything Guitar. I am Ben France, your host of this weekly deep dive into everything guitar related and the guitar world. If you're new to the channel, feel free to go ahead and click the subscribe button down below, and if you want to ring the bell for notifications too, that would be awesome. That way you'll know when new videos come out. Additionally, if you find this video to be helpful, go ahead and give me a thumbs up on it. So let's go ahead and dive into episode 15, starting with the news. All right, this week on the weekly news update, I wanted to start by highlighting a couple different products that are available that we just got recent announcements of. We'll jump over to the screen here, and you'll see starting out on guitar.com, there was a news release 3 days ago, that would have been on Tuesday of this week, September the 23rd, I believe, where they talked about the Ernie Ball Music Man unveiling its Ball Family Reserve instruments for September. Now, if you're not familiar with the Ball Family Reserve, these are the high-end, kind of the creme de la creme of the Ernie Ball Music Man instruments, and they do special limited runs of Ball Family Reserve that include things like special woods, special finishes, features, so on and so forth, just kind of for those high rollers who are good at rolling the dice, or maybe just someone who's been saving up for a while and wants a really special instrument in their collection. So, jumping back over here, we see that there are 5 new models this month for the Ball Family Reserve. The news release says that one of the partners of the upcoming GuitarLive.com, Ernie Ball Music Man, has unveiled its Ball Family Reserve instruments for September. The instruments include 4 electric guitar models and a bass. So here are the instruments in some wild colors. Starting out with the Cutlass HSS, standing assumingly for humbucker, single coil, in lime and lemon color. Notice those are a 6-string. These are a basswood body with a highly figured maple neck and fingerboard, and there are 2 custom wound Music Man single coils in the middle and neck position, and a DiMarzio Axis humbucker in the bridge. They also have a wide spectrum silent circuit, which lasts up to 500 hours on a single battery to get rid of the single coil hum. They include Schaller tuners and a Music Man Floyd Rose locking vibrato bridge with fine tuners. Next, we see the JP6 in Cinnamon Shift. JP6, this is the signature model, the first signature model for John Petrucci, in a very, very pretty cinnamon burst finish. We'll see that this has a Petrucci's signature liquid fire humbucker in the neck and Crunch Lab in the bridge, as well as a piezo pickup built into the bridge. There are 2 three-way switches. It has Music Man custom floating trim, Schaller locking tuners, and a synthetic bone nut. And we'll see the price on that guy is $27.99. The price on the Cutlass models were the Cutlass models are $27.99. The JP6 is $29.99. There's also the Mariposa in trans black. Mariposa is the signature axe of the Mars Volta guitarist Omar Rodriguez Lopez, and this one features an Okume body, maple top, and a trans black finish, paired with a roasted maple neck and an ebony fingerboard. This one has Ernie Ball Music Man humbuckers, 2 volume knobs, and a 3-way pickup selector for $35.99. There will be only 25 pieces of those made worldwide. That goes back to that exclusivity we were talking about. The JP6 Family Reserve model for this month has 50 models that will be made nationwide, and the Cutlass are 40 models in lime and 35 in lemon. Then finally, there is the Bongo 5HH in Satin Honeyburst. Man, is that a beautiful bass guitar. That's a 5-string bass that says it's a Honduran mahogany in both the body and neck, an ebony fingerboard. It uses 2 neodymium humbuckers with a master volume pot, a balance knob, and a 4-band stackable EQ. Has a Music Man bridge, custom tuners, and a bone nut, and it is $28.99 with 60 pieces limited worldwide. I'll put the links to both that guitar.com article and the link directly to the Ball Family Reserve page off the Ernie Ball website that you see here on the screen now. So you can jump through and peruse those if you have the cash for one of those, or if you just want to dream on what a really cool instrument you could get if you had the cash for one of those. On the opposite end of the price spectrum this week, I want to highlight something that Harley Benton came out with. Harley Benton, if you're not familiar with it, that is the house brand of Thomann, which is a large musical equipment reseller and manufacturer in Germany, probably similar to something we might see like a Sweetwater or a Guitar Center in the United States, only they do offer some of their own instruments under their own Harley Benton brand. So jumping over to the screen, we see that Harley Benton this week has released the GPA 100 that is a pedal-sized power amp for less than $100. This guy is a $78 power amp in a pedal that looks like your typical stomp box. It has a Class D power amp and delivers 100 watts at 8 ohms or 190 watts at 4 ohms. It adds some useful controls to your signal, including a master volume in the bottom of the device, but it also at the top has an EQ section with bass, mid, and treble knobs. Also, there's signal and peak LED indicators to ensure that the signal is being fed properly. It says as for sockets, it has a single instrument input and output jack, and it connects to any preamp, pedal, or effects device. Weighing in at just 800 grams, this lightweight amp can be useful as a backup to have in a gig bag should your amplifier suddenly conk out in the middle of the session. And on jumping over to the Harley Benton page, we'll see some more photos of that guy. There's the same photo we saw on Guitar.com's news release. Then we can see some more detailed photos, kind of more close-ups of the various angles of it. The front panel of it, which has the power switch, and the power input, which actually is the top panel of it, I should say. And also, obviously we see that it does come with the power cable as well. This shows that it is available now on Thomann.music.com, and I'll put the link to that in the description of this video as well, for $77 US or $66.38 or 66.38 euros. And it says it'll be in stock within 2 to 3 weeks. So there we go. There's a couple of new products this week for you to peruse online through Guitar.com and through the Thomann and Music Man websites. All right, this week on the Mini Guitar Lesson, I thought we'd continue something we started last week, which was exploring alternate and different tunings on a guitar. As we talked about last week, a guitar, 6-string guitar, is typically tuned from the highest string pitch-wise to the lowest, being E, B, G, D, A, and E. That's from string 1, the thinnest or highest pitch, to string 6, the lowest or thickest pitch. Last week we covered DADGAD tuning. You can go ahead and jump back to the episode here if you want to check that out. That was episode 14 of Everything Guitar. This week we're going to talk about drop tunings. Now, what a drop tuning is typically means that you take your low string, your 6th string, and you'll drop it down to a lower pitch. There are a couple of benefits to this. First off, it obviously gives you a lower pitch, so a lower sound. Particularly though, with most drop tunings, what you'll do is you'll drop this string number 6, down 1 whole step or 2 frets. Now the benefit of that, based on how our guitars tune the intervals of guitar tuning, is that that gives you a root on the low string, whatever note you're playing is your root or your first. That gives you a 5th automatically on your next string if you're on the same fret pattern. Now, if you've explored some of our previous chord and some of our previous scale episodes of Everything Guitar, you'll know that your root and your 5 make up 2 of the 3 tones that make up a typical triad or a typical chord. Root and 5, more specifically, make up what's called a power chord, which is one of the most basic chords you can learn to play on a guitar because it's based off of 2 notes, the root or your bass note, and your 5 or your 5th. A little bit of real quick theory to review. Our notes on a guitar, or in music, I should say, in Western music, our basic notes, not including sharps and flats, are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and then they repeat. So there's 7 notes, not including sharps and flats. So with a root 5 chord, you're playing your bass note, your root, or your 1, and you're playing the 5th note, or the 5th note in that scale, the 4th one above the root. So what does that mean? Well, let's take a look at this guitar. This is my Ibanez Art 300. I have this guy currently tuned to drop C tuning. What drop C means is that every string is tuned down a whole step or 2 frets, and then the lowest string is dropped down 2 frets more or another whole step below that. So this guitar is currently tuned from the highest string pitch-wise to the lowest to C, A, F, C, G, and C. So we've got a C here, we have a C here, and we have a C here. Now with drop tuning, like I said, the benefit of that is that your 6th string and your 5th string are exactly a 5th apart. So if you're wanting to play power chords, your basic 2-note chords, you can just play those 2 strings together. So if we play them open, based on how I'm tuned currently, we would have a C5 or a C power chord. Pretty cool, huh? Don't have to do anything on your strings on your left hand whatsoever, and you've got a low C chord, a real heavy. Now the nice thing about that, since these guys are exactly a fifth apart, root and 5, you can play one finger chords on those bottom 2 strings. So if we have a C here, we know from previous theory, if we jump up 2 frets, 1 whole step, that takes us up to our next chord, which would be a D. So on the 2nd fret, if we play the 6th string and the 5th string, barring that down on fret 2, we have a D chord. Same thing, if we jump up 2 more, we get an E. Then we jump up to fret number 5, which is a half step, we get an F. Fret number 7, another whole step, we get a G. Fret number 9, another whole step, we get an A. Fret number 10, another whole step, we get a B. And fret number 12, another whole step, we get a C again, an octave higher. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, another cool thing about this, remember when we were just going through the strings on how this guitar is tuned, we have octaves. We have a C here on string 6. Or if you just do drop tuning and standard tuning, this would be a D. Everything else would be your normal string notes that we talked about previously. String 4 is also a C. And then we've got our 5th in the middle. So in this case, that is a G. So if we play those 3 together, we block the bottom 3 strings, and we play the 3 lowest pitch strings, we get a big C power chord that we have a root, a 5th, and an octave. Same thing if we move that up. So that gives you some very interesting possibilities for riff writing. If you want to do a lot of riffs that you're moving around a lot, but maybe your left hand isn't quite up to snuff yet, you're still learning how to play, and switching from a lot of different chord shapes or moving around the neck real fast is not the easiest thing to do for you. If you do something like a drop tuning like this, whether it's drop D, meaning leaving everything tuned normal, only taking your 6th string and dropping it down 2 frets or to a D note, or if you want to go heavier like this guitar is and drop it down a whole step on all the strings and 2 whole steps on the low string to get a C, that gives you a lot of interesting opportunities to play chord progressions that are easier because you're just using 1 finger to play power chords across your 3 lowest strings. So like that riff I was playing at the start, I'm tuned about a step lower, actually about half a step lower than I need to be. But you might have recognized that from a certain Seattle band from the early 90s if you're into my age. Or you might know something from a certain classic rock singer who started one of the original heavy metal bands. It sounds like... So, lots of opportunities there for cool riffs. Also, you can get some very cool, really big power chords if you play a standard power chord shape, root, 5th, and octave on your 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings, and then you throw in that low string with it. That gives you some very interesting tonalities. So there would be a D, or pardon me, a C in this case, and a C power chord an octave higher. And then if we throw on that 5th fret on the low G string, what we're doing, or on the low string, we're throwing a G on there, so we're basically doing an inverted C power chord with a G in the bass. So that'd be like C over G, or C5 over G. And of course, let's not forget the fact that if we have that low string drop down a whole step, that also gives us a very nice possibility to play a very big 6th string open chord, meaning if you play your standard D shape, which we've learned previously looks like this, only we take that 1st finger on the 1st string, 2nd fret, we raise that, then we have a big, huge 6-tone C chord based on how I'm currently tuned in drop C tuning. So there you go, drop tunings. Hopefully you'll find that useful and helpful. Maybe give you some new ideas on ways to write riffs where they're a little more economical, where you're not moving around as much. And if you're a newer player where you don't have to use as many fingers to change the chord shape so frequently, because you can just bar across those bottom 3 strings. And to borrow a term from my favorite Swedish guitar player and YouTube legend, chug till your heart's content. All right, so that's it for episode 15 of Everything Guitar. Hopefully you found this episode to be useful, helpful, educational, entertaining, fun, funny, hopefully anything other than boring. If so, feel free to give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. That helps with YouTube's algorithms on getting these videos out where more people can see them. Also, like I said at the start of this video, if you are new to the channel and you want to find out and see more of the content that I'm putting out, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and ring the bell for notifications. New episodes of Everything Guitar come out every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, which is 10 a.m. GMT Greenwich Mean Time. But I do have a lot of other content dropping and coming out on the channel here in the near future that's going to be just periodically throughout the week. So ringing the bell for notifications will help you out. And that might give you some insight into something coming. Looking over my shoulder here, you might see something kind of unusual and interesting. You can see it on the secondary camera here. And that's where this gnarly tone is coming from. Let's just say that that piece of gear is older than probably a lot of you watching this video. So there's your teaser. Tune in soon to see more. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Bye. Cue the news intro. Cue the news intro. Cue the news intro. Cue it. Cue the news intro, and we cue it, and we cue the news intro, and it goes right here now. Yes, it goes. We cue it here, here, and right here, and we cue it right here. We cue the news intro right here because we want to cue it right here and now. Cue it, cue it, cue it, cue it, cue it.